Well, every good fish story starts, of course, with a great story. Now, Mo, I want to talk about what you invented, but first let's talk a little bit about you. Now, tell me where you came from and when you first started fishing.
I started fishing about probably 35, 40 years ago, back in Wisconsin, where I was born. I wasn't born there, but lived there for the first 7 years of my life.
And did you grow up there with, you know, like fishing with your family, or when did you start?
Actually, it was with me and my two brothers. Okay. Yeah, we started out with some of the things that we were using to fish with. I choose not to mention, but
did you start in lakes, or how did that work?
That's actually we had a river that ran through our property. Okay, and that's where it started from.
Wow, so it was kind of in your own backyard.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, and what kind of fish?
Panfish, bluegill, sunfish. You know what? It's got to be in my blood. It's got to be in the blood because I'm. It's an addiction now.
Okay.
Yeah, big addiction.
Okay, yeah. So you came to California now. What's the fishing? How's the fishing different here versus back in Wisconsin?
A whole lot bigger.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, the fish are a whole lot bigger.
Okay.
Yeah, and harder to catch. A lot harder to catch. So I'm over the years, you know what? I've fished this area now for probably going on 30 years, and in order for me to keep up with some of the guys that were catching some of the things, you know what? I had to relearn my strategy.
Wow.
So
no, a lot harder. Why would that be?
You know what? I guess it's I have no idea. They're game fish, and I don't know. The first couple of years I started fishing here, with no success, none.
Wow.
None. So I'm like, you know what? Something's got to change, and I went from holding my pole to put it in fixed position pole holders and different baits, and you know what? Nothing seemed to work.
Interesting. Now, why do fishermen go out early in the morning?
Why do they go out early in the morning? You know what? Early bird gets the worm.
Okay. That's a good one. Okay, now what's the difference between, I know here you fish in lakes, is that right?
No, here it's part of the California Delta.
Oh, the Delta, okay. All right, now how about ocean fishing? Have you ever done that?
You know what? I like to keep my feet on ground. I've been out a couple times, and no, not for me.
Okay, all right. Now tell us about what you invented, and we're gonna look at it in a few minutes. But why you invented the pole holder?
Right. Well, you know what? It took a lot of time, and you know what? Over the years, I've found that when I sat and held my pole, never got a bite. You know what? And then I put it in certain pole holders. You know what? And I believe that, you know what, the fish have got like a sixth sense that, you know what, they could tell when my bait's attached to something. Okay. When they hit it, you know what, guess what? It's one strike and that's it. You go to set the hook and wait for that second strike, and it never happens.
So it's kind of you against the fish, isn't it?
Right, exactly. So you know what, I had to increase my strategy, and you know what, over the years I figured out that, look, you know what, I basically, if I floated my pole, okay, you know what, I actually balanced the pole on something, you know what, the pole would actually tip over, you know what, the fish could strike it, not feeling the resistance in the line. Well, with that, they'd actually stay with the bait a lot longer, giving me, you know what, while it's happening, giving me time to actually set the hook.
Wow.
So now it just developed from that point. It just developed on. I kept going. There were certain angles that I wanted to be at, and there's a certain resistance in the line that I wanted. And you know what? It's just over the last 4 years, that's how the Rockin' rod was developed.
Yeah, you know, it was interesting because I was going to ask you about that. Like, how long it took you to get it right where you wanted it?
It's about 4 years, about four and a half years to get it totally exactly to where I wanted it, and the right angles. And there was a lot of thought that went into this pole holder. A lot of thought. I mean, it's that I did the head, and then once I got the pole support part of it done, I needed to put it on something to where I could fish all terrain. Okay. So, and the difference between this, and a lot of people have asked me, you know what, aren't you afraid you're going to lose this pole holder because it's so light? I'm like, it's a balance beam. It's not actually, it doesn't anchor the pole to the pole holder. It actually is a balance beam. So when the fish pulls, they pull down. They don't pull out. So it's actually, the pole's actually balanced on it. It doesn't support the pole. All it does is balance it. So, and you know what? And plus it's an adjustable strike height. I can adjust the strike height to wherever I want. If I'm standing up, I can put the strike height up here, being on tripod. So, yeah, putting my pole holder with the tripod is the perfect perfect setup.
You know, have other people use it as well? What kind of feedback are you getting?
Oh, absolutely. You know what? I've got a bunch of them out there, and you know what? It's been nothing but positive. Nothing but positive. Yeah.
I have to ask you, like, how's your fishing now with the pole holder?
It's incredible. Incredible. You know what? My success rate is 110-fold. I've since I started actually getting it perfected, the last 2 years have been outstanding. I got a lot of haters.
So it's pretty competitive out there in the fisherman world, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yep. So I'm happy with it. I'm very happy with it. I'm happy with the last 2 years, and I'm now in search of the 400-pounder.